read too long. Oh, we're like
Too long what, Professor? Too long being... What's going on, everybody? Cali Death Podcast back once again, episode 131. I am your host, Anthony Trapani, and I'm here with you on every Thursday that we've been doing this show. It's crazy how long we've been doing this every fucking Thursday, but it's awesome at the same time. And I'm always joined by at least a couple, maybe 1, 2, 3 resident homies. Today I got 2. I got Casey Howard and the Professor Joseph K with me. What up, y'all?
yo.
Yes, and we've been providing the names lately. So if you're watching the video version, you can see everyone's name for a brief moment here.
It's mainly for me, guys, because especially doing the full lineup or close to full lineup of band on the last 2 episodes. That's way too many names for me to remember, but I got it tonight with the labels on the video. Tonight we're joined by the Xebellian Triangle. What up? We got Aisha, Ivy, Aaron, and Hakeem. Did I get it? Did I get it all 100%?
You got it.
Oh, yes.
Got it.
Feels so good. Thanks for being with us, all y'all.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
No doubt. It's behind the scenes. It's been quite some time that we've been trying to get this episode together, and we finally did it, guys. So
yep.
Cheers to us. A little round of applause. We finally did it. And yeah, let's start off with the plugs real quick. As always, we got battleforgecoffee.com at the top. The homies, the brothers, that's family right there. That's real Cali Death. That's coffee that we love, we enjoy, we use. And I want you to go there and get your coffee and your swag as well. With us, you want to support the show. It's calideathpodcast.bigcartel.com. Still got a couple of t-shirt designs in there. I don't know what sizes are available. Get in there and see if they are available for your body type and size.
They're all the usual sizes are still available.
All right. So whatever body type and size you are, we have something for you. I like to kick back on the show every now and then. They like to show that picture since they caught it. And yeah, so if you're just listening to this, you have no idea what happened. Casey Howard is trying to be slick. We got generatorrehearsalstudios.com. If you're down in the SoCal area, you are close enough to get there and jam out, and you'll be supporting the inside fam as well down there. What do we want to do now? Oh yeah, you take over from here, dude.
All right. So as longtime listeners know, Cali Death Podcast is an official sponsor of Chicago Domination Fest 8, and we have the final headliner to announce right now, live on the show.
Yes.
Has not been posted anywhere else. I got the flyer from Miguel and the approval. So without further ado, let's see who it is. Defeated Sanity are the headliners of CDF.
Cali Death Podcast alumni as well. Within what, I don't even know what episode they were, but it was very early.
That was
on recently.
I was going to say within the first 20.
Yeah, they're original.
Yeah, we love those guys. That is definitely a 100% yes for me as a headliner for that festival.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a sick lineup.
Dude,
Tell the audio listeners what these headlining bands are. So we got
Defeated Sanity, Mortician, and Origin. I mean,
and Vile, and I mean all kinds.
Trinity, Cephalotropsy, Brodequin, Torso Fuck, Analepsy,
Yeah,
Dark All Slaves, Immortal Suffering, Regurgitation, Stabbing, Cognitive, Cenotaph, Wormhole, Necrotic Gore Beast, Human Artifacts, Embodied Torment, Reviled, Virulent Excision. You know, there's some Texas death metal bands in there that I'm sure
nice.
EXT is familiar with. And there are more.
Kudos to you guys who can still read those band names, dude, because they've gotten more and more illegible for me in my
Glasses don't
old
help,
age.
dude.
I know I have to wear glasses and all that shit now, but it's just like, dude, some of the logos today, I just can't even fuck with.
We also, related to Chicago Domination Fest, are now able to announce the winners of our ticket giveaway.
Yes.
So we did a random drawing trees, and we're happy to say that tickets are going out to Troy Fullerton, the homie,
What up?
who deserves to be and actually should be at every Death Fest everywhere.
Yes.
So that's he should just get a ticket no matter what. But you know, he won one from us. So shout
And
out
let us
Troy.
reassure you, this was totally random. I know he's a drummer of one of my bands, but totally random.
Totally random. And then the second winner is Alex Damsky, bass player of the band Warforged, and also an alumni, Cali Death Podcast alumni. So shout out, Alex. You live in Chicago, so that's
dude.
An easy sell for us, obviously.
I was about to say Warforged is Chicago based, so he's pretty close.
You need to get like a sound of people cheering, like in the background.
That's like the classic first thing on the soundboard. Yeah, we need to get that. It's true.
We don't have a soundboard. We got to get a soundboard.
That'd be sick.
That'd be cool.
But yeah, shout out Troy and Alex. Your tickets we have the digital thing to send you. We'll send that shit out to you.
Alex is in the chat, dude. Yeah, hell yeah, brother.
What was I going to say? Oh, shout out Miguel if you're listening. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yes.
I'm hoping to play CDF someday again soon. So let's fucking go.
Let's do it.
All right. That's I think all for plugs. We can get into it.
Yes. All right. Let's lean on you guys and gals. The Xebellian Triangle. Where can we? Where's the main hub? Where's the merch? Where can everybody go support and find out all your information?
So we have a link tree that'll have everything. All the merch is over on our Bandcamp. We have quite a few designs there. Definitely be on the lookout for some new stuff probably later in the summer as we prepare for a single release at some point. And so, yeah, we're all over social media, any platform, all the streaming platforms, everything. So
right on.
We're the only band with this name. So as far as we're concerned, so
hell yeah.
As long as you spell it right.
I did get that vibe when I was reading. I was like, this is a band that really wants nobody's not even be close to anybody's name, want nobody to get close to their name. This is us out in our own little corner of the triangle, the Xebellian Triangle.
The opposite of my band.
Dreamer.
Just
private Dreamer, there's probably like 14 different Dreamers on Discogs.
You can't even search us on Spotify and have it come up. Yeah.
Well, there is actually a Zorn project called Dreamer or Dreamers or something that I came across trying to find you guys, but it's all good.
Yeah, you guys are doing it right in terms of recognizability and memorability. So
we just have to get people to like figure out how to pronounce it first, because we've heard it all. We've heard all the
Xebellian.
all the potential.
Yeah.
It spiraled to.
I knew starting
it spiraled
with Z,
to the point where we just. Sorry,
you
go ahead. No, you go
I was
ahead.
just going to say, starting with the Z, I knew. I mean, I knew it was going to be a Z, and then talking to you guys earlier, I was like, just rhyme with rebellion, right?
You'd think it's that simple, but it's not.
Xebellian Rebellion. Just
Yep.
take the R off, put a Z on it, and you got it. Look
You're
at me
helping
trying to
spread the good word.
coach people how to say words correctly when I'm the one that fucks them up the most.
Well, it's like way back when we played with I Set to Kill. Alex was like, so it's like Rebellion with a Z, but it's an X and it's an A, not an O.
Hey, man.
Perfect.
Ridiculous.
Okay, so then now since we've talked about the name so much, let's figure out the origin of it and what it means and all that stuff.
Can we do a little flyer?
Oh
shout out?
yeah. You guys are
Good shout.
going out
Yeah, whoa. Looks cool.
beginning of June.
Yep. Week from tonight, we'll be playing in Austin. So
Nice.
Nice, dude. Austin's
So-
popping.
I was just talking to Josh, our old friend. He used to sell merch for us for Odious way back, but yeah, he lives in Austin, and he's moving. And I was like, "Where are you moving to?" He's like, "Oh, like in Austin, just like 15 minutes away or something."
Yeah, he loves it out there.
Yeah,
So this is Xebellian Triangle, Astringency, Spiral Eye, June 1st to Austin, June 2nd, Houston, and then Nacogdoches?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
There's a G in
it's-
there.
yeah, it's pronounced Nacogdoches. It's a little like a smaller town about 3.5 hours east of Houston, and they've
I
got
wanna
a
hear
little scene out
you.
there.
Try it.
nice.
You
Yeah,
guys
we're
ever heard
gonna.
of the term macadocious?
I have
And then,
not. No.
And then Arlington, just to follow.
I'm
Yeah,
too
there we
old.
go.
Of course, of course.
So a little
I've heard of
weekend
that.
warrior run. All right. Take it away, Anthony. Ask the question.
Ask the question that starts it all.
Yeah.
Well, no, I got 4 people, so I don't really know where. Maybe we want to start a little different since we
You know,
got
like I
4.
don't know. I like that.
We didn't get the reason for the name, what it means, and all that.
Yeah,
stuff.
like I feel like when we
That's
have
gonna
like
be this direction. Ivy.
yeah. I feel like how about this? Like because like when we have episodes when we have like 4 people or 3 guests, like going through each person's like lineage is a cool thing. But I think maybe we should consider like, hey, maybe we should just like think of the band as the
Let's start with the
person or
band
the
first
baby.
and-
Let's be like let's just start like with the band origin and because you guys are all relevant to that and just kind of stick on that path
And then I'll find
Yeah.
ways to get into each
Yeah.
other personally, or each one of you
that might flow better.
individually. Yeah, I think that's better too. Is where we just start with the band. So
Yeah.
I first want to know the meaning. I want to know what Xebellian, the origin of that word, all that.
Okay, so I'm like the sort of designated lore master in the band. Xebellian is referencing the kingdom of Xebel from DC Comics. It's one of the kingdoms of Atlantis, and it's located in the Bermuda Triangle. And the term Xebellian Triangle has never been used in DC Comics, like ever.
Mm.
It has literally never been used. So I'm like, okay, well, that's mine now. So,
Hell yeah. So now, but what is it? Is it the fact that term's never been used, or did you have a connection while reading that comic book? Like,
So I'm obsessed with DC Comics, and I was like really on an Aquaman kick at the time because the movie had just come out. My first name and my last name are taken from DC Comics, so obviously Poison Ivy, and last name is Dinah Lance, which would be Black Canary. So I kind of love DC stuff.
hell yeah. I'm a
yeah.
Watchmen fan, not like probably deeper than you would probably want me to go into conversation, but that's my favorite part of the DC universe is Watchmen.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
I
Yeah,
just love
so-
the fact. Real quick, I just want to add to that, which is Watchmen was intriguing when I found out that when you're in a Watchmen comic book, all the DC villains and heroes are just comic book characters. But when you're in, let's say, the Superman universe, the Watchmen is just a comic book. So I loved that, like, interdimensional situation that was going on there, where it's just a book in every other aspect of the DC universe. But when you're in the Watchmen universe, all of that is just a book, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Those weird multiversal sort of paradoxes and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool, dude. So that's where it. So you started with the DC at a young age, or?
It was kind of like something I got into probably early 20s. Like,
Mhm.
like I mean, I always liked DC stuff, but I became like really into it early 20s because of an ex bandmate that I had in basically the previous incarnation of TXT. Um, and he was just kind of a friend from the local scene. So he was really obsessed with DC, and he was giving me a lot of pointers of where to dive in. And I kind of just branched out from there on my own path of titles that interested me and characters that interested me. So
So
just
talking
kind of
about
took
the
it from there.
band, are you the oldest member, or how did you guys get together? What is this? You said the earlier incarnations of this band, so tell us how it started.
So the quick summary I'll give is um, Aaron and I were in a band together in high school with a couple other different people. And then that band broke up and then immediately kind of like reformed ish, but like reformed playing new material that was supposed to be that first high school band's new music.
And without me.
Um, Basically, yeah, it was like the entire lineup minus Aaron. Different drummer. Um, so then we did that for a couple of years. The main songwriter, which would be Kaz, they quit like a couple of years in to do pop punk, which I was also in their pop punk band as well for a couple of years. But they've kind of just moved on to different genres that they wanted to do. And I was kind of left with the bulk of material, all the current stuff that we were playing, as well as like a full album's worth of new material that was written between myself and Kaz, and little snippets here and there from Jay. And yeah, then that band kind of floundered on for a bit with like lineup changes every 6 months, and then eventually disbanded. Um, the album was in the process of being recorded. I abandoned it. I had a different band at the time that I was also doing kind of like black grind, Anal Nathrak worship kind of stuff.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that was a fun band. But then we were trying to do an album with that band, and then that band broke up, and the album went into development hell as well. And then I'll let Aaron take over here about how TXT actually started, because my timeline is kind of blurred around that point.
Yeah, I would say like a one thing to add about the band that I wasn't in, that was basically the previous version of TXT, is that I came back and filled in for one show. So I had all of the click tracks like on my computer from practicing and stuff. And that was while I was in college. I didn't really play much. I didn't play drums very much in college. Like I came back, and because I went to college from 2014 to 2019. Around 2015, I came back and like filled in for some bands in Houston. And then I filled in for the previous version of TXT. And kind of near the end of college, I was playing drums more, and I was playing in a country band, and I kind of was just going through stuff on my computer, found all those click tracks, and I was just jamming them, like having a good time, doing blast beats, and playing metal again. And it was kind of like I was jamming. I was like, why aren't we playing these? So I reached out to Ivy, and I was like, do you want to play these songs again? Like, I can play them all. Like they're fun. They're 6 songs of they're catchy. Like, let's do that. And it took a bit of a sales pitch, I would say, to really start any momentum. But it was kind of a thing of, we agreed, like, well, if we're gonna do this, like, we're not gonna mess around. Like all of the past, at least local bands we'd played in, there wasn't necessarily like a sense to like do things seriously. You know, you'd practice, you'd hang out, you know, maybe only practice the songs a couple times and then just goof off the rest of the time. And it was kind of like, all right, if we're gonna do this, let's do it for real. Like, let's do the album release correctly. Let's, you know, play shows. Let's try to get out of town. Let's not just play Houston every other weekend like, you know, some bands do. So it's just like, let's get it going seriously. And so once we kind of had that going, I think that was what, 2019.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, sometime around 2019. Well, then the challenge was, let's find, you know, additional members, so it's just not us two. And so, you know,
How
that
much
took
were
a
you
bit.
guys writing during that when it was just you guys, you two?
So honestly, I'll let Ivy answer that, but most of the material was pretty much written already.
Okay.
And pulled.
like I rewrote like one song mostly from the ground up. That song would be our kind of like fan favorite and also longest song, which would be Jakars.
Mhm.
It had kind of the same structure and vibe, but most of the old band stuff was written in C standard on a 6 string. And then I was writing kind of off and on throughout the years during the previous band, and kind of in the years in between, I'd been writing backlog where I was writing solos on like my 27 fret Xiphos and writing riffs on like 7 strings tuned to like G sharp standard and drop F and all that, which is why I have these now, my custom RIPs, so I can play these songs live and do all the solos and all that. So not a whole lot of writing during that time, but there was like a lot kind of like before, and just kind of like doing final tweaks on the album, because I had recorded rhythm guitars for the initial previous band's album, God, like 4 or 5 times for like various reasons, like technical reasons, like mishaps with the DI files, updating the riffs, things like that. And all that kind of went through one more final pass with TXT. So I guess you could consider that kind of writing, but really it was only really just like the bulk of the riffs and stuff for Dracarys, and then finishing lyrics for a bunch of the songs. So yeah, that was about it, really.
Okay, so let's get into Aisha and Hakeem. How did you guys get involved?
Well, back in 2020, Ivy posted that they were looking for new another guitarist actually, and I saw the ad and I saw how professionally it was written. I mean, I've been friends with Ivy for a long time. We weren't like super close or anything, but we've seen each other shows, you know, friends of friends, whatever it may be. But I saw the post and I saw how seriously they were taking it, and I decided I wanted to try out. So I was supposed to try out for second guitar, but then I saw, you know, there wasn't a bassist, and I did have a nice bass at the time. So it's like, hey, can I just play bass instead? And worked out.
Nice.
Right on. And Aisha, how about you?
I'm still fairly new. I joined, I believe it was around April. I think April 27th, we made the announcement for me to join.
That's very new.
Yeah, very, very new. As far as like my knowledge of the group, of course, Ivy and I have been friends for a good while. And I remember there was talk of getting things started. So I definitely watched TXT, you know, kind of bloom a little bit when it came down to that. But at some point, you know, there was the opportunity to fill in for a couple of shows. So I, you know, had that opportunity to do that. And honestly, I've always been a fan of the music, so I consider that a pretty big opportunity, and definitely grateful I had that option. So A couple of shows went by, and eventually I was asked if I would, have interest in joining, and of course I said yes.
So were you involved in another project previously that these guys had heard, or how did that come about?
I had been doing music with a group prior. It's probably 2018 when I started with them. And unfortunately, we ended up kind of just coming to a halt with music production and weren't really doing anything. So pretty much at the time where, I was asked to do some fill-in work for TXT, I wasn't really doing anything musically. So I was like, yeah, I mean, I don't have anything going on. And of course, I love the music. So it'd be really fun. Of course, getting to spend more time with Ivy, Aaron, and Hakeem, I thought that would be pretty cool too. I mean, they're all amazing musicians in their own right. So
Right. So are you guys all within, like, do you guys live around each other? How often do you guys get together to jam?
Yeah, we're all pretty close. Hakeem, Ivy, and I, we're all within 15 minutes of each other, pretty much. Aisha lives a little farther, but still, 45 minutes to an hour. But even then, we don't honestly, we don't really jam too much. We get together, one or two times before a show or before a run, and we've always kind of been pretty serious about, just coming prepared, know all the material. Practice isn't time for anyone to learn anything. It's time for us to all jam and play the songs how they're meant to be played, and flatten out any of the small details that maybe need to be addressed. But yeah, we're all close, but it makes it easy to get together, go play shows, do runs. But as far as jamming goes, we don't do it too much. It does make recording and stuff a lot easier. We can get together and collaborate. Like February, we did drums for the new song in my living room. Just so sounds pretty good there, and did everything. Tracked some vocals recently, and I know y'all did guitar and acoustic and all that recently as well. So it makes all that easy because we can get together and
so
knock that out.
Is there a part of you that, this is just me speaking from my perspective of how it was with the bands that I've worked with, and a lot of the energy that went into those projects came out of rehearsing once or twice a week and getting into one space and getting on the same level and catching the same wave if we can. Do you feel without the jam sessions and just working kind of virtually, does that take any of that away from you guys, or is it just now you can still catch the same vibe virtually?
Well, so for me personally, I can't speak for anyone else, but Ivy and I, it's been a decade that we've at least played music together. So, I mean, there was years at a time, many years ago where we did get together and jam every single week. And so at least me personally, like I'm okay with not doing that. Like I maybe it's a drummer thing. It's like I'm the loudest instrument anyway. So if I'm playing, no one can do anything else. So it's like I like practicing on my own. I like getting together and jamming, but I don't feel like I get too much out of just like being there all the time and jamming in person.
I feel like that's kind of like the future thing. Has been like the future for a long time, and I feel like Anthony and I are kind of these old guys, and we're like, we don't have band practice every Thursday at 8 o'clock.
It kind of is that way. I was like, when I was saying that, I was trying to get it across without saying like, oh, if you don't do it my way, it's not the right way type deal. But I'm just saying, like, personally, I felt I connected with the dudes that I've worked with the most when we were in person,
definitely,
and making noise together. But I'm not saying that that's the only way to connect creatively, artistically, and that's definitely not the only way you're going to be able to, shape out a song as best you can as a group.
But it's the future of making albums, and it's also been the future for the last 20 something years, since we've been able to do that, like without spending a ton of money. Like in the 90s, it was pretty hard to like record yourself and I'm going to record my drums and send it to this engineer over here. Like that would cost a crazy amount, or to do it on ADAT or like whatever and stuff.
The lazy musician's idea of I don't need to leave my house started very quick as soon as they realized this reach of the internet. And then they're like,
because
how do we make it to where I don't have to leave my fucking living room, dude?
Exactly. Yeah. No, it's incredible to be able to just record and do stuff and not have to I don't know, just. And to me, honestly, like because that does affect me, like trying to think of other projects, and I'm like, wait, I'm not comfortable like doing this like resurgence of a band, or like rekindling of a band, like without weeks of practice. How am I going to just like see you guys for 2 days and then go play all these festivals? Like we haven't played in like 15, 20 years or whatever. How the hell, like I'm total like complete anxiety attack about that.
Oh yeah,
dreams about it. Get on stage, I don't know the songs anymore. All that. It's like
that's just linked to our experience in music, and it's different than it is now. And you can, like I said, you can still connect virtually and still get those same vibes, dude. I think that actually, and I'm going to stop my rant on this one. I think it's better for creativity in general that point A to point B has been shortened so much because of the internet. But I'm still the guy who's like, I just want to be in the room with the guys, That's it. That's all I was really.
You guys
are gonna pass me up, and I'm gonna be the old guy, and I'm gonna be like, these kids these days. And
no, you guys should be in a room together and making shit happen. That sounds like
it does feel cool.
Return to goodness for me. So yeah, and I'm stoked to hear little hints about what's going on. But can I just say how I heard about Xebellian, and then what came to be the connection that got you guys on here was, I think it was the Cobra Crab podcast when Entheos did a run and you guys opened for them on a couple shows, or maybe like a full weekend, like Weekend Warrior kind of situation.
It was just the Houston date with Entheos, yeah.
Oh, okay, so they talked about you, and then I looked it up and I was like, this is cool. And then there was some hype being generated, and then fast forward, the album comes out. I'm a listener. I like it. It's great. And then I'm doing the Ominous Ruin tour. We're planning the tour. Aetherius is the headliner, and their drummer situation falls through. And at the same time, we're also looking for Texas shows on the tour. And I remember being like, well, let's just get the Xebellian Triangle to play with us in Texas, because they seem like the big hype band from there right now. And then I asked Kyle just offhandedly one day, like, hey, did you find a drummer? Because I was thinking like maybe I'll just, double duty or whatever. He's like, yeah, we found this guy. His name's Aaron. He plays in the Xebellian Triangle. I'm like, oh, that's the band that I want us to play with in Texas. And that didn't happen, because I wish it had. It would have been cool, but I guess we didn't quite play Houston on that tour. But then I got to know Aaron on the tour, and that was sick. That was a fun time, and we could talk about that. But that's how all this shit kind of connected us together. And then, yeah, I've just been hyped to see you guys doing more stuff since then, navigating the, lineup and all that. And yeah, keep putting out stuff. And like, you got shows coming up, you got singles coming out. Seems like the new lineup is solid. So yeah, congrats on all that shit.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm definitely very hopeful of the future, and a lot. We're working on a lot of stuff right now, and I'm very excited for what the future holds.
Hell yeah. And it's like, let's talk about the sound. I mean, we don't play music on the show too often, but would you guys say it's symphonic death metal pretty much captures it, or you want to get into the nuances there, or how do you guys want to talk
That's
about
what
the
I would
style?
call us for sure, is
Yeah.
symphonic death metal. Because I feel like the actual like symphonic metal crowd, if you just call yourself symphonic metal and then you have mostly harsh vocals, they hate it.
Yeah.
I feel like we've had comments that are like, oh, was it some guy from France was like, symphonic only noise? It's like something like that.
Hell yeah.
I remember I took a screenshot of that. I have it somewhere. It was hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, what is symphonic metal? I'm like, who are the big bands in that? Is that like Nightwish, or is that like melodic power metal? Like, I get a little mixed up with what's symphonic and what's power and what's melodic over there.
You know, I've been kind of like talking to people about this, especially in modern metal period. There's so much like backing elements, like the line is kind of blurred a lot.
For sure.
I mean, like traditionally, I would say symphonic metal bands, like, yeah, I think you could call Nightwish one. Also Epica.
Mhm.
There's tons of them. There's tons of them nowadays. Like, there's so many different names. Gone in April, Ephanimer. Geez, just
Yeah.
I'm trying to pick a name.
My
There's just
my
so
main
many.
thing was symphonic black metal. That's where I was like, I hearing the organs and the
I'm a Dimmu child,
keys
yep.
behind everything. Dimmu, Old Man, fucking Children of Bodom had some, even Psy.
Yep.
They had some symphonic stuff. Hecate Enthroned, like all these bands are the ones that when I hear the word symphonic, that just naturally comes to me.
I heard you mention
Flesh God, Septic Flesh. I gotta plug Stormlord. I always gotta plug Stormlord. I love them so much, from Italy. Like, nobody knows them, but I fucking love Stormlord so much.
I feel like Flesh God and Septic Flesh. I was like confused because I was like, I just said the word flesh. So I guess I'm saying two bands with flesh. But those are what I think of when it's symphonic death metal, because they're not black metal bands,
right?
And they're definitely like death metal bands with a symphonic element to it.
I got to shout out a Cali or Bay Area alum who would play at the Pound a lot. They've come up plenty of times on the show. Cypheria. That's a band that I think people should check out if they want to dig into Cali death underground symphonic death metal, because that's exactly what it was. So Dragon Lord, I don't know if anybody remembers that band. That was also a symphonic black thrash band with Eric from Testament, and the keyboard player, I forget his name, sorry dude. You were also in Cypheria with Jared Deaver and a couple other people, and that was a rad symphonic death metal band to see live. Never had their album. Their album was already like out of print by the time I got keen to them, and so I never owned a physical copy, but you can find their shit online.
Yeah, I came across Dragon Lord like last year, I think, at some point. Yeah, I had no idea who was in that band until I looked them up.
Alex Bent on drums,
sick.
right?
Oh, okay.
Not back in the day.
Not back in the day.
No,
Alex
was still in elementary school when that album came out, dude.
Sick.
It was actually, Dragon Lord was on the first bill of the Pound, the first Pound show that I ever went to. It was Morbid Angel, Deicide. They did a 2-night residency at the Pound, and I caught the night that had Soylent Green, Dragon Lord, Deicide, Morbid Angel. What a fucking sick first fucking show at the Pound, dude.
Hell yeah.
All right, that's all I got to throw on that. Sorry, I'm gonna shout him out, dude. Mr. Glooms, dude. We're just chatting here, brother. It's all good. Or sister. I mean, you go by Mister.
Well,
so I don't know.
Just real quick, and he mentioned, Gone in April, and we had Yannick on, and so from Quo Vadis, and like that, that's his band, Gone in April. Remember they bought that tour bus and all that stuff, like we were talking to him. So shout out, those guys are cool.
Yeah.
His wife's in that band, I think, right? She plays violin, something like that.
And then when you were talking about how the line is blurred, like they're there are like tech death bands like Symbolic that like have the like MIDI symphony going kind of the whole time, and that's who I think of when I think of like Blurring the Lines, because like I don't think of them as like a symphonic band, but they have the like kind of out, you know, they're in the boundary spot between the two. Yeah,
There's there's more layers involved. There's more atmosphere, soundscapey stuff. That's kind of like where I think that this. I mean, I used to go to the symphony as a kid too, so I'm like I could feel like all the strings and stuff. I know, like having the full orchestra behind, which I think Dimmu and Cradle, they've all done that with the full orchestra. That probably is the symphonic thing, but really it's just adding those extra layers that you
yeah,
can't do with just the traditional rock and roll band setup.
yeah. It's, I mean, I think death metal leaves a huge sonic like range above like whatever hertz you're at, you know, or you can fill that out. And I like bands that don't do that, like Deprecated, and then I like bands that do fill it
Yeah.
out, like you guys. So,
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I guess right now it's all like MIDI, and is it written in like, you know, the DAW, and that's just kind of where it lives, and doesn't have a keyboard live or anything, or not yet, or
Yeah, that's kind of where that's at. I mean, renting or hiring an orchestra and all that is like nuclear blast and napalm money, which I do not have.
yeah,
So,
for sure,
um, that's the dream one day.
for
Seriously,
sure.
it's the dream one day.
Yeah,
But
Yeah.
yeah, it's all like really outdated East-West libraries that are like 10, 15 years old already. Like all the stuff that was on uh which Karakangren album is it? It's This Is No Fairy Tale. It's like that sample library, also the same one that was on like Flesh God's Agony. It's all really old. I need to update. I need money to update. So buy our shit.
dude, those sample libraries are like what, like a terabyte each these days? Like they're a huge amount of, like,
Some
no
of
one
them,
ever
yeah.
needs that
What?
many. Yeah.
The Spitfire ones get really, really ridiculous. I've been looking at like the Audio Imperia stuff, which is a little bit smaller in size, but it
Mhm.
just, I feel like it's, the detail on it is still just as good, but I don't own any of that yet, so I haven't really gotten a chance to use it. But from all the demos and stuff, and a lot of people use it for like modern trailer music, and it's
Mhm.
like the stuff that like actually makes it into publishing, like people's work using those sample libraries published as trailer music for like actual like big budget films and AAA games and all that. So
Yeah. Sick, man. Well, let's see. So yeah, so you have like the main LP that's out. It's called At the Gates of the Rubicon.
at the
Um,
banks.
oh, sorry, At the Banks of the Rubicon. Um, so that's the one that has the music written from, you know, years before, but then finishing touches and everything as you went. Sick album art. So most of the band's like history has been kind of building up to that LP, and then executing it, and then touring in support of it, or doing shows in support of it. So maybe just talk about what that album represents for you all and such.
For me, it represents catharsis for sure. Of like, again, if you want to go back to the whole history of the old bands, it's literally been like a decade in the making, pretty much, almost. Like from like writing songs like Spawn of Ungoliant. Kaz wrote that. That was like one of the first songs that was written for the new album in the old band. Yeah, that was like 8 or 9 years ago. Living Autopsy is one of the songs from the first band that Aaron and I played at shows towards the end of that band. The solo from This Cursed Lineage was written for that first band's new material, but never got used. So on and so forth. Like, to carry all of that material forward for so long and, you know, constantly going back to it. It's just like cathartic to finally like have it be what it is and have it out and be done so I can move on to other things that are almost just as long.
Totally, but at the same
So-
time, it's really cool that that material has stood the test of time with you as an artist, or these guys, everybody who's been involved as artists, because you can get down the road that far and just totally abandon it too, you know?
Mhm.
And so these are compositions that have been important enough to get finally frozen in time a decade later, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And again, they're like, even though the structure on most of them might be the same, or I guess the structure on all of them, but Dracarys is like pretty much identical for the last decade or whatever. Like the riffs themselves have gone through so many revisions.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much all of the songs started out as just Melodeath songs. There was no orchestra. So the whole orchestral touch was my sort of vision for the songs. We had some little bits here and there for some songs, but like to actually go and score, pretty much rescore the entire song in a symphonic context and then add that into the song itself, like that was all things that I kind of developed over the decade of getting my first libraries, learning how to use them, learning how to humanize better, learning all the different parameters, becoming a better engineer, so on and so forth.
Nice.
Right on.
Yeah. Conceptually, did you have a big role in the album, like lyrics and concept as well?
Pretty much, yes. Like, so like Autopsy and Living Autopsy, what other songs? Bloodwatcher, This Cursed Lineage, and Fellow de Se, for sure, that I can think off the top of my head. I think those are all the ones that are not penned by me lyrically. Those are all like old things that Kaz, or we had a different vocalist in the second band, Michael, who wrote Fellow de Se and helped with revisions on Spawn. And yeah, pretty much everything else I kind of just wrote lyrically over the years. Some of them were older, some of them were newer, just kind of all over the place. But I think what's most evident is like Spawn of Ungoliant was like the first song that I wrote lyrics for. And then as you get into other songs like Confirmed, Dracarys, Zostur, you have all sorts of more kind of just overall more mature topics and more like real life kind of topics rather than just like giant spiders turning people into goo and eating them kind of songs. You know,
Nice.
Yeah.
I kind of burned myself out of writing death metal in like one song. I was kind of like, there's not really much else that I want to do here. So I'm putting all this time into the riff revisions and the orchestra and all that. I kind of want the lyrics to match that, you know? Like, even if it's just screams and gurgles and whatnot at the time. But I did some like melodic vocals and some choirs on the album. Our previous vocalist had a whole clean section part that she wrote. And like going forward, the idea was to always add more singing, regardless of who's doing it. So, you know, just kind of developing the taste to just kind of do whatever I kind of want or whatever we kind of want.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
That's
but
right, dude.
Conceptually, as far as like if you want to talk about like the art and everything, yeah, that was like pretty much I presented a vision to our artist, Vota, who uses the term moonroot for all of his album art and logos. He did our logo, our emblem, and our album art. He does a lot of like atmospheric black metal, a lot of dungeon synth, a lot of illustrations for books.
Okay.
Love, love, love his work so much. Like, just incredible work. So
I'm gonna throw that up right now.
Yeah, I want to see it now that
album
he
art.
just. Oh yeah, I remember. Okay, I remember while I was listening to this, seeing this, and I was like, this is like, it's power metal as fuck, but at the same time, it's not. It's different. There's something about it that's not power metal. It's like, I don't know what it doesn't even. Something about it is not musical. It's like something different in my childhood that is coming forth in that.
So tell the audio, because most of our listeners are audio listeners, so like Anthony, like what are we looking at? Like,
Okay, so we're looking
name of
at
the album.
we're in a field or a plain, and there's mountains in the background. We got clear blue skies. We got a dragon in the sky coming up over those mountains, and then right next to us is some kind of structure that looks like it's made out of rock, but it might be man-made. Coming down that structure is this gigantic green spider, and right below that is a river of red. I don't know what the river is, but inside the river is this crazy goblin-looking dude with gigantic fucking nails that look like they're gonna dig into my back if he gets me.
So how do people find this? Like, what the title is?
At the gates. Sorry, I fucked it up again.
You did it again.
At the gates of at the banks of the Rubicon.
Yeah.
At the banks of the Rubicon, the Xebellian Triangle. But dude,
Check
it's
it
crazy
out.
because it's totally like, then it all of a sudden, that's what it is, dude. So then when I get to the 3 in the middle, I start to get that Zelda vibe. I start to feel like Zelda vibes, and that's what I'm getting from the childhood nostalgia. The magic and the elvian vibes that you're getting from those people.
yeah, it's very Tolkien-esque.
Yeah, totally, dude.
Are these characters like in a narrative? These three
So
people?
it represents the 3 of us that are on the album. So
Okay.
on the left, the archer is Aaron. In the middle is Haley, who is the vocalist on that album, and then on the right is myself.
Yeah.
And you have basically across this and the back art as well, there's references to pretty much all of the songs. So basically, to explain kind of the art, is we are standing at the banks of the Rubicon using the actual river in Italy, and its namesake as a reference, and coloring it red, one to reference the fact that the river's name basically means red, or Red River, or Ruby River.
Rubicon.
And then to also reference the song Blood Watcher, just to have blood visually there.
It's a good name, by the way. I like that.
So you also have references to, like, the spider is spawn of Ungoliant, because it's about the spawn of Ungoliant from Middle Earth. All the giant spiders of Middle Earth are descended from the entity Ungoliant, who takes the form of a giant spider. The goblin creature is a lycanthrope, or a werewolf. That's for this cursed lineage. The dragon is referencing Dracarys, which is about Game of Thrones, about Daenerys Targaryen. On the back, there's a giant pyramid, which is referencing like the Illuminati all-seeing eye for confirmed, and so on and so forth.
You're just wrapping it all up into one thing, dude. Just grabbing all the
references
shit
for everything.
I was gonna say, like, I say this in the best way.
episode.
You guys super nerded out on that artwork. Like, and I fly the nerd flag, So for you guys to have all these representations of things that are personal, or like connections to the band, that's what I'm all about, dude. Odious is the same way, dude. There's so many random, like, little secret little jokes just for us in the band all the time. That I love that, dude. I really do. And the artwork is something that when I first saw it was like, oh shit, this isn't something I normally see in the extreme metal realm currently. It may harken back to older prog metal bands and power metal bands and stuff like that, but it still was something that when I saw it, I was like, this is fresh, and it made me pay attention because there's so many details to the artwork that make you want to be like, why is this werewolf looking dude standing in a river of blood in front of these three powerful beings that are doing some kind of magic? All these crazy, yeah, I just love it. I actually really did love the artwork, seeing it.
Yeah, the power metal vibe was kind of intentional, just to like
because I'm a
subvert
fan of
expectations.
Rhapsody. Rhapsody
Yeah,
is the
I was
band
thinking
that'll
of
always
Rhapsody.
have a dragon flying in the
Yeah.
background, so that you immediately get pulled into that little bubble of power metal. But it doesn't matter, because then you see it and you listen and you're like, oh shit, this is something way more extreme than you would think would come from that album cover.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, again, that was kind of the design, was to like draw people in, and they hear they hear the opening of Spawn, which begins with orchestra and a good catchy riff and all that, and then boom, you're hit with like false chord lows and fry screams and all that, and no clean vocals in that song. So
Mhm.
just really wanted to like draw people in and then just basically fuck with them a little bit.
Yeah,
Awesome.
dude.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about, dude.
Nice.
So I do still want to get some abridged origin stories from you guys, because we do like to hear about high school and childhood. I'd like to start with Aisha, because she's first up top. I know you just responded to that, but I'm just saying, I'm looking at you guys. I just want to go left to right. You're right there. You haven't spoken in a while, and I just want to know what's up with you. I want take me back to childhood a little bit. What your parents were listening to, what caught your attention at a young age, musically and artistically, blah blah blah.
When it comes down to music, I feel like my dad really wasn't big on listening to music, anything like that, but my mom was. So a lot of times we would have long drives going back and forth um, from where we lived, daycare, things like that, and we'd be listening to stuff like Sarah McLachlan. So like some of the earlier stuff I listened to was definitely more on the soft side, and I definitely have for that. Still love um, that sort of music, but
Totally.
getting into like high school, things like that, I was listening to heavier music. Let's get into stuff like, I guess, Slipknot. Definitely had my little emo phase. So
how'd you come across all that stuff, though? Just going to the mall or listening to it on the radio, friends showing you shit?
I'm pretty sure it was like being a big fan of the Fuse TV network. I definitely
Okay,
watched.
I remember that.
Definitely like Headbangers Ball on MTV. That was
Yeah.
thing. And then of course just like having other friends that had music influences that they were willing to share at the time.
So you had a core group of people that like-minded,
Yeah, definitely.
hungry metalheads, or soon-to-be metalheads.
For sure. Yeah, especially in high school, it was bigger then. But when it came down to like, I don't know, metal, I remember getting into things and eventually was like, man, I wonder if I could actually, do these vocals. So of course I tried, and it was terrible.
Yeah, as it was for all of us.
Yeah. Over time, it got better and better. And of course my musical influences definitely changed. I got away from some of the, I wouldn't say lighter stuff, but I definitely got into more heavy stuff, going towards deathcore and that sort of thing. So eventually my idea for what I wanted my vocals to sound like changed as well with like my musical influences.
Were you jamming with people in high school or any high school bands you can tell us the names of? We like hearing about high school bands.
No. Funny enough, like I had friends where we would pretend or like talk about it, but when it came down to actually getting into music, I didn't really take it seriously until about 2018. So I was already about 27, so I started a bit late.
Wow. Okay.
My
That's
first
no,
band.
that's awesome. That's a more rare thing that we've come across on the show, but it's at the same time that actually is really cool to me that you can, almost becoming 30 and take the, artistic chance of just diving into something new like that, and that just shows that it doesn't matter what age you start doing something, just do it. If you want to do it and keep getting better at it.
Agreed. There was definitely a few people that I came across that were already doing it, and I don't know how happy they were doing it, and I was like, man, I want to be doing that too. So once I finally decided to do it, I just pushed forward and hoped for the best. And of course, it's worked out fairly well.
Mm-hmm. So is this technically your first real project?
No, this would be my second.
Okay. So what was the name of the first one?
It was Envy the Dead.
Did you guys put any recordings together, or was it just a live band?
Yeah, there's some stuff out there. I believe some stuff is still up on like Spotify and YouTube as well.
Envy the Dead. Okay.
Yeah, the band did fairly well. We did some pretty cool shows. Got to meet some pretty cool people. But like I said, unfortunately, things just came to a halt with music production. Everybody kind of just went towards their own goals. So like I said, I took about a year off to kind of regroup and regather myself. And by the time that year, it was close to a year, probably wasn't a full year, but nearing towards that, I was like, man, I really want to get back to it. So like I said, I started keeping my eyes out for things and at least putting feelers out to get back into music. It was definitely a long period. It felt really long to not be doing anything musically.
And live music for you guys came back a lot quicker than most, at least for California. You guys were already going back to shows a lot earlier than we were. So the scene was already starting to pop over in Texas a lot quicker. Because everybody was feeling that during the pandemic, like I want to get out there and do something now. After it gets, the smoke clears. We're like, as musicians, you would feel like, oh, I want to get out there and get ahead of the game. And you guys definitely could have at that time. So that's cool that you guys jumped on it as early as you could. Hakeem, dude, I want to get into you real quick, bro. I see you over there. It might be a little late for you, but I want to get into you, dude. Like, tell it the same thing, like the origin. Talk about childhood, getting to high school and stuff like that. What music was the fam playing? What music was what that you got interested in first that you can remember?
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember a lot of specifics of my childhood. I don't think I really was into music until, I mean, I was really into video games.
Joseph
So
is super on those. You're super on those. The production aspect of the visual aspect of the show.
I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm sorry.
So one day I told my dad was kind of into like classic rock, like not super into it, but he would like listen to Guns N' Roses sometimes, Metallica. And he bought me Guitar Hero 3 one day.
Nice.
And that's really like where my music journey started. Just I fell in love with Guitar Hero 3 and all the Guitar Heroes after that, and music in general after that.
Was that the one?
So then
I picked up.
It.
With that,
Say it again, sorry?
Was that the one that had the Dragon Force song in it? Was that 3?
Yeah, Through Fire and Flames. Yeah.
Hell
okay.
Yeah.
I remember that one.
Yep.
So then
I had the first 2. I didn't really get the third one. I was all about the first 2.
Yeah, I never played the first 2 either.
Showing
but
my age.
Yeah,
for sure.
So then soon after that, I like asked for a guitar, and then I started playing guitar. Kind of self-taught myself, even though it took forever since I didn't have a teacher or really any frame of reference of how to play properly. started a band in high school, sort of. Never really got a full lineup together, but we, wrote some demos.
Before you move on, dude, I just want to add to what you just mentioned with Guitar Hero being an influence to get you to actually play the instrument. That's not the first time we've heard it on the show either. And I just want to like hats off to PlayStation and Guitar Hero, because there is a percentage of the kids that play that end up going on to becoming real musicians. And I just want to say that's fucking rad, right?
Yeah, I love
It's not
that.
just a fucking, you're not just sitting at home playing duck hunt and shooting fucking ducks out of the sky. You end up getting the motivation to become an artist just for playing video games. That's fucking sick, dude.
Yeah, I love that, and I wish they would do more of that. I don't know why they're not, but oh well, it's another conversation.
Is there actual like real guitars with strings that have video games that you can play with?
Just Rocksmith.
Rocksmith.
Yeah.
Whoa. So is it on the computer or is it on a console?
It's on both.
Interesting.
I never played that one. Never really got into it, but I know it exists.
Yeah, it's some of my students play it, and then they're always telling me about. I basically base my lessons off what they're doing on Rocksmith. Like I'm just like, all right, what were you playing on Rocksmith this week? Let's learn them like real. But like they're playing it on the real guitar while they play the video, and I'm usually like,
but they're playing it on easy mode, so they're playing like half step.
Yeah,
notes
exactly,
and all that kind of shit.
That kind of thing. Yep.
Half step notes.
I don't know. That's me trying to fucking rap with you guys. Rap with you musicians, dude. This is me trying to fucking sound like I know what I'm talking about. I've gotten this far right now. We're an hour and 6 minutes. I sound like I know what I'm talking about right now, right?
Yeah, but I never played it, but it definitely was. I remember when
Casey just pop in, talk shit, and then he just
that's what he did.
Fucker, dude.
I remember I was the dude where everyone would play Guitar Hero and I'd be playing real guitar along to the song coming out and just kind of having my like I'm better than you condescending vibes. And but I was, it was fun still for everybody, I thought so. But good times, man. All right, so Guitar Center or Guitar Hero 3, and then from there, I think you were already ahead of us on that background story. But
yeah, I mean, I had a band in high school that never went anywhere. We just wrote some demos here and there. I had another band after that out of high school named Terra, which hindsight, bad choice of a name because there's a lot of Terras out there.
Yeah.
But we did release a full album and a single. And then when pandemic hit, kind of stopped getting together, broke up after that. Now I'm here.
Hell yeah.
So it sounds like Xebellian is kind of like the synthesis of a bunch of people from the scene, like just kind of like all who are serious about music, like, all right, this is the project that will like take us somewhere, sort of. Which I think is true of some of my bands as well. So it's kind of like, the people that are serious, they don't stop playing and they kind of fizzle.
Yeah, it's a project that's an opportunity for, it seems like, a bunch of these guys and gals that have come out of previous projects where they're more serious than the other people that are involved, and they just need something that they can really fully jump into, and it looks like they got their lineup right now, and that's rad because the music's sick. I've actually, been listening to it this week. I love it. And that's another thing too, is like live. I didn't watch any of your guys' live stuff. So how is it pulling all this stuff live together, and how is, are you making it work? Like, give us the real stuff. Like, how hard is it to pull this off live, and what's the response?
Honestly, I would say our live show to me has felt like it's been our selling point. Like
Okay.
I felt like we've won most people over from our live show, honestly.
That's good.
Um,
Nice. Yeah, for sure.
So and I would say, at least for me, I can't speak for everyone, but besides the new track that we started playing on a technical level, it's all very well within my abilities.
Mhm.
So I'm able to. I feel like we've done a few shows now where we've played the whole album front to back, and it's really not a problem because I've had to play with other bands where their materials pushing me, and this is a lot of stuff that drum wise was finished years ago, and so I feel like it's helped, at least for me, to play as tight as I really can and play the songs as true as they are to the album, just because we've had them around so long, practiced them so long, and they're parts that I kind of personalize too, so it's way easier to play your own drum parts than someone else's, at least most of the time in my experience.
Right. Totally.
Or guitarist program drums.
Common
Wait,
topic on our podcast.
What are you talking about? Yeah, I've never heard of that.
Yeah, it gets brought up a lot.
Guitarists can't play drums.
Well, dude, I mean, Aaron
With their
can
fingers.
fucking.
It's
Aaron
like,
can play anything. I mean, I wanted to, spotlight Aaron a bit for
I know.
filling in. What did you play with, like 10 bands last year? You like listed an insane amount of bands. For your
There has been a
Is that
good
right?
amount. I don't know if it's 10. I mean, at least, let's see. So I can think of from 2022 and 2023. I know I filled in for Aetherius, Desiccation, Desiderium, Enterprise Earth, Love Paranoia, Envy the Dead. I'm at 6. I can't think of any more.
I'll find
Dorsia?
your,
Oh,
I'll find
Hindsight.
I'll find your own post where you listed them and tell you more about you than you
Yeah,
know yourself.
Crazy.
there's probably more, but
It's like
I mean,
Were you playing with Castor Troy still? Was that still a band? Is that still like a local band?
oh yeah, Snake Father too. Forgot about them.
Snake Pop.
Oh,
How
yeah.
could you forget John?
Snake Father.
I know.
Snake Poppy, dude.
Yep.
The Serpentine Fathering.
About Blood Watcher and Snake Father, dude. Great.
Snake Father were sick. We played a show with them on that tour.
They were awesome. Yeah, I was actually supposed to play drums from that night, but the van, we popped a tire, and then the wheel, the spare basically came off, or almost came off of the studs, and we had to get all the studs on the axle replaced, and a new spare, and a new everything. It was just a mess. We made it to the
Who
set.
put that spare on?
Who?
Who put it on?
I put it on, but the thing is the spare was what was wrong. It was so rusted that, like, because I know how to change a tire, but like the spare had been on that van for who knows how long up up in Seattle. So
if you tour with Anthony, he won't let you go out without a nice spare.
You guys, you'll never.
Yeah.
Well, actually, having me on tour, you're stoked because
he replaced
those
my car's
roadside
tires.
Assisted. Yeah, I have. I gave you a set of tires. I did. Actually, there's plenty of tire shit that I've done on tour too, and I'm ready to go, guys. Anytime I'm on tour with you, you guys are stoked for that.
It's funny how Anthony's
roadside
the one
assistant is in the van with you.
It's funny how the mechanic is the guy who like backed into a pole like like the first tour we did. Like,
with the trailer?
No, with the van though. Like we were like in one of those panel van things, those Ford F whatever 50s.
The E series.
The E series.
I backed it into something. Oh,
yeah, it was a rental, and you backed it into like a pole at the showcase in Corona. And it like dented the bumper. Like it was like,
hey, just because I know how to work on them doesn't know I know how to
yeah.
drive them.
Yeah, it's all right. I got shit for driving shitty too.
We've all and no matter what, dude, you're tired. You fucking got to go to the next show. Things are gonna go wrong, dude, on tour. And it
Yeah.
always has to do with the fucking car or, just some traveling bullshit. It's usually what gets in the way of most of getting your tour together, right?
Yeah.
Like getting to your next spot, it's usually your van that is keeping you from getting there. I hate seeing like the homies, they go out on tour and then like 2 days in, transmission blew or something like that.
Every
It's
fucking
like,
time, dude.
I
Every tour.
know, dude. And I'm just like, I'm just like so stoked that everybody's getting back out on tour and on the road, and we're back to remembering that just bad luck for us underground death metal guys, dude.
Yeah.
But on that tour that we were just telling the story from, I did want to say Aaron fucking killed it. It was insane. I especially remember the highlight of what was that show in Idaho, that random ass town, and we drove like 13
Pocatello.
hours straight. Pocatello, dude.
Yeah.
And we drove 13 hours straight, like from overnight. We left Seattle and just drove straight to the venue from the night, like from the show. And then I don't know how much sleep you guys got. I remember it being little, and then I remember you just fucking murdered it at that show. For not even like, I mean, there was enough people there to where it counted, but I remember just being like, "Damn, dude, this guy is serious." Like, this is like a Monday night in Pocatello, and he's playing like it's fucking stadium show. And
Damn, rad.
so
That's
that was
sick.
and then every show was extremely solid. I mean, minus one or two trigger issues, cough.
Oh yeah, the Reno show.
Yeah, that was my birthday night, so I've told that story on here.
Oh, true, yeah.
But
Yeah,
yeah, man.
I
But
think you
tour
had a few
routing-
drinks while drumming that night, which is a little unusual, at least.
But so you've like gone from there to touring with Enterprise Earth in Europe.
Yeah.
Can you talk? I know we talked, but didn't get a confirmation. Can you talk about any other tours you're doing?
I don't
coming
think
up?
so yet, but yeah,
Okay.
there's definitely some cooler stuff I have coming up later in the year that I'm really looking forward to. But
I mean, I'll say if you're on like the West Coast, you'll probably see Aaron live this year if you go
Hell
out
yeah.
to shows.
I seem to only tour the West Coast. That seems to be it's either West Coast or Europe. That's all I get to go to.
West
Yeah.
Coast,
TFTI.
West Coast, dude.
See you in SoCal, San Diego.
But yeah, I was just like, I back Aaron. I put his name out. I got him Desiccation at Gord in the heart of Texas. I put his name in for this other tour coming up, which turns out worked out. I don't know if I was the right referral, if it came from someone else, but I definitely have just been like, go play drums, dude. Like drummers look out for each other. So
Yeah, agreed. And I appreciate that. It's to me, it still like doesn't even register in my brain. Like I don't know. I just like playing drums. Like it's crazy that I even get to do anything with it. So, I'm always super grateful for everything.
hell yeah. And a super like broad range of, like some of the like the Desiccation, that's like brutal San Diego, like kind of almost slamming death metal, and then you pop punk and country and all kinds of other genres, and then more like deathcore kind of stuff. More tech like Aetherius is just super prog. So yeah, I think
Lots of blast beats.
Yeah, and I mean, you were telling me at that point that speed was your, that was like the thing holding you back from certain gigs, but I think you've conquered the
Definitely.
speed barrier at this point too. So
I feel like it's still there. I just feel like every time I get an offer for something, it requires me to get a lot faster, and then I just have to put in the work day after day and hope that by the time that first gig comes along, I'm fast enough. I mean, that's pretty much been the case with about every fill-in gig, probably minus Desiderium. But the only reason it didn't matter there is because those songs were so impossibly hard. They just weren't fast. They just were 9 minutes of complete, like, just no like repetition very much, just one thing after another, proggy stuff. But other than that, yeah, it's just hope that my hands will be fast enough by the tour.
Hell
Thanks,
yeah, dude.
thanks
It's
to doubles, I don't have to worry about my feet too much. But you know,
I'm my doubles game is getting there, man. I've been putting in the work. I do that those pearl pedals that just came out today, that George Colia sponsors. I kind of want to try those because that's like
those are pretty cool.
trying to get off Axis into something a little more like Trick or
Yeah.
ACD. I love Axis still, but for doubles, I might need a different beater. I'm looking for those flat beaters now. I want to change something to see if it's the setup and not just the
So
technique.
are you, Professor, are you trying to transition to just a doubles player? Or are you just trying to utilize it and just have it as another tool in the bag?
I want to be able to go like fast consistently with them. And I don't know. It's just something to do, like something different to do while you're playing the same songs that you've been playing. It's like, okay, I'm gonna see if I can do it both ways. It's just like
Right.
kind of fun. But then there's definitely like some endurance stuff where the doubles will come in handy.
Mhm.
I was gonna say that's the biggest time that I like. There's some like the Ethereus gig, the Desiderium gig, probably the Enterprise gig too. Like all of those, I wouldn't have been able to pull off if it wasn't for me being able to play doubles. Like Desiderium, I think the second to last song there, it's like it was only 200 BPM, but there was a section of 16th note double bass for 3 minutes straight, where it's like I literally can't play that with singles. Like there's just no way. My like calves would be just tightened up and it just wouldn't happen. And even playing doubles, like it kind of pushed me right to the edge of like, you know, it was not fun to do
You
that.
feel it in your upper legs instead of your calves. I feel like when you're doing the doubles, it's way more like
Definitely,
upper
yeah.
leg. Yeah, it's kind of
Because
a
it's kind of
fun
like
burnout. Yeah,
Does
super fun.
drumming ever creep all the way up to the butt cheeks? Do you guys ever get sore butt cheeks
Oh,
after
for sure.
drumming too?
I would say like lower back a lot. Definitely like maybe like some upper butt cheek area.
You need those glutes. You need those glutes to be solid for support or balance or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, it's in those hip flexors.
Hip
That's where it really is.
Nice.
Fuck yeah, man.
Well, I want to know, Aisha, like how do you practice? Like, what's your regimen for vocals? Because I'm getting back into recording again, trying to actually become a vocalist again. You know, not just fake it while I talk about it on this show. You know, and
what are you recording, Anthony?
the new Chodia Scrotum.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's this new band that I joined.
Announcement. I haven't even mentioned.
Yeah.
Yes,
I'm working on the new Odious. Yes, I'm trying to ease my way back into being a death metal vocalist again with no band to jam with, and my only way of growling is just looking like a weirdo on the freeway driving to Rockland.
Yeah.
And anybody who drives by and sees me screaming at my steering wheel, that's what I'm doing. I'm practicing death metal vocals. And it's, you know, I'm easing back into it, and I'm asking just another vocalist, what is your regimen? Do you have a specific situation to, you know, keep stamina and control and all that kind of stuff?
I don't really have any, training or anything. There's not really any techniques that I'd say I like specifically learned probably properly. I just over time kind of practiced things and figured out what worked, best for my own vocals. When it comes down to practicing, a lot of it is just repetition over and over again. Definitely practicing the TXT album. It's good exercise.
Yeah.
And of course, actual exercise does help with, breathing control, having enough breath to be able to make it through
having a healthy body. And yeah, it was, yeah, totally.
But yeah, it's one of those things I don't really have like, oh yeah, you can go to this person for this technique. That's what I learned it from. Like I said, it was a bunch of trial and error. Is again, I didn't really take, I guess, doing heavy vocals very seriously until I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do. Which at that point, I think I'd kind of figured out what mostly worked for my voice. And then over time, just doing it more and more, I got better with control. And of course, just actually sounding better.
Right. Yeah. Eventually I know I'll get there. Right now, I don't feel like I sound very good, but I've done it before. Like I was saying pre-pod, I've done it before. I can do it again, guys. And we'll have a new Odious Mortem record as soon as I finish my shit. But yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome is right, dude. Positive vibes. That's how I want to go at this one too, is like, because I've always in the past really gotten to the point where I've had depression during recordings and shit. Like, fuck, I'm a fucking imposter. This is all bullshit. And then I eventually get an end product where I'm like, oh yeah, I did it again. You know? But that whole torturous journey. What are we? The tooth decay is in the background, dude.
No,
you motherfucker. You guys, is this what the show's gonna end up being now? We're just gonna be pranking me while muted. There it is. See,
what do you mean it's gonna become? What are you talking about, dude?
I have broken headphones. This,
yeah.
I'm a joke, guys.
Yeah,
No, it's
anyway,
not.
it's back. Yeah. So,
all right, let's get this. Joseph, you're supposed to get me back on track when I get this far out. And he's muted.
He's muted.
Oh, sorry. Did you guys talk about? I wanted to ask about the live shows you guys have been playing. Mostly opening slots for a lot of the sick tours that roll through. What have been the cool shows you guys have played? Like Christian, Decrepit, Vader, for example.
That was a fun show. I would say that was probably one of the biggest shows we played too. It was it was kind of like, so one of the problems that we run into in Houston when you play here is if you play on a weekday, nobody can show up like pretty much before like 8 or like 7:30 because the city's so big and there's so much traffic. It's like every time you're in a time slot that's on a weekday before, I would say 7:30, you're gonna have half, if not a quarter or even less of the crowd there. Because we've gotten to play some pretty cool bills. Like we played, we had kind of had a streak last year. We got to play the Tech Trek tour with Inferi, Entheos, Volvodenia, Arcspire. We also got to open for Legion and Black Crown and
Omnium Gatherum.
Yeah, Omnium Gatherum. And then we also got to open the Rivers of Nile Fallujah tour with Warforged, and all those. They were fun shows. We had people there, but we played super early, and so that Vader show, since there was fewer bands, it was a Wednesday, and there was kind of like a festival thing going on. It was like the pre party almost for like this massive festival they have at White Oak every year called Hell's Heroes. And so like when we got on stage, like the room was packed. Like it was pretty cool. I mean, it's a smaller room, I think a 250, 300 cap room, but I mean, it was full and it was fun. Like, getting a kind of, that was the first show of the year, right? And so, that kind of kicked off the year for us.
It was.
Yeah. And so, kicked off the year with the new lineup and everything. And, it's kind of been a good start, I feel like, since then. Not every show's had the same turnout. We just did we did a few shows in March and April, early April, and then we just did a run of shows last weekend. And then we got the stuff coming up in June. And, none of these shows the one last or this month and the one in June, none of those are with bigger bands. For the most part, we're either headlining or direct support. So we're really trying to like hit the Texas market. There's not much of like a scene around our sound, I would say, in Texas right now.
Right.
And so that's been like,
it's been widely slam for several years out there. I don't know how it is currently, but slam was always associated with Texas back in the day with us.
yeah, I would say like stabbing's a great example of that really just a big Texas brutal death scene that you have out here. There's a big brutal death scene, and I would say that there's a really big kind of like hardcore / deathcore scene out here.
Since we're Cali Death podcast, let's just, because stabbing is totally a derivative, of disgorge. What do you think the lineage of the whole Texas scene to disgorge from one side and like fetus and suffo from the other side, and kind of just grabbing all of that and the technicality of disgorge with the slamming suffo shit? I think that's really what it is. And being mid United States, it totally makes sense that they just would take like certain aspects of both sides and mix it and be the middle, Am I onto anything when I'm saying this, or I'm just talking out of my ass?
No, I mean,
that makes sense, I think.
Fucking Devourment, I would say, just ask them, because it's all from them on.
Yeah, but I would say stabbing, I would put them in the disgorge realm before the Devourment realm.
Yeah, that's true. I would have to ask Bridget or Marvin what,
because I definitely, obviously, if we put it in front of people that didn't know what we're talking about, Devourment and Disgorge would be probably pretty similar to those people, but I know I can find distinct differences in those bands. So I just think that like the Disgorge, I'm just basically saying like Disgorge needs to fucking be talked about as well.
I could tell you that no Disgorge, but To Violently Vomit, we were approached for maybe I shouldn't say it all. There's a festival in Texas called Gulf Coast Death Fest. Cephalotropsy played there this year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that'll be the fest that To Violently Vomit. That's not necessarily the best chance to see your favorite Disgorge songs. It might be, another Gourd in the Heart of Texas year that you get to see your favorite Disgorge songs live. But at some point it will happen. There's multiple options. But it might be another couple fests elsewhere before it's Texas. But we hear that there's a lot of Disgorge fans out in Texas, so TVV wants to come out. The other band, well, no, it's not that close. I was gonna say TXT and TVV, but that's only one letter in common. So
no, it still rhymes.
I just found, by the way, I was just going through old inventory and I found more TVV shirts that I didn't realize we had. So
I got one of those.
Any TVV fans out there, hit me up. We got a merch store for TVV. We're still doing shit. Angel's been doing the Devourment tour, so yeah.
Hell yeah. All right, let's get back to the Xebellian. What's plans for current and future? Like, is there new writing since the album's out, and what direction are you guys wanting to take it in, if you're taking it in a different direction? Because I would think that a band like you guys, with how detailed you guys round out the whole vision of the thing, once that's and the way that you were talking about it earlier, Ivy, is like, it's been such a long time and now it's finally frozen in amber, passed off into the ether, and
encased
now
in carbonite.
yeah, and now we get to start fresh and be current with our ideas and all this kind of stuff. Like I would think that I've watched so many bands put their decade worth of art out and then totally have been like, all right, that's done. I gotta go in this whole different direction. I don't know if that's going to be how it is with you guys, but I mean, obviously with that much of a timeline until now, you got to have some new ideas, right?
Right. I would say the easiest way to put it is yes and no.
Okay.
The direction is just expanding in like a couple different directions. Like the sound is expanding in a couple different directions. So with these singles, I'm pretty much like going for things that are what people might consider atypical of the TXT sound, even though it's still like an early band. Um, so I'm going for all sorts of different feels and styles and pulling more of my own influences in because, again, like this first record of ours is very much written by another person who's never been in TXT, and it's again old material. And the common thread of that Black Dahlia murder sort of essence as the center point, that'll forever be there. But I have my own world of influences of a lot more extreme stuff and a lot of like black metal influence, as well as just like, again, kind of the overall symphonic metal influence that made us what we are today. I want to explore all those avenues. So, say we have stuff that's in the works now that is very Anal Nathrak. We have stuff that is in the works that is very much, in line with our current sound, but maybe incorporates like a clean chorus or things like that. Other songs that are kind of more, I kind of toe that line of like deathcore sound, even though I don't really consider us a deathcore band and probably never would consider us a deathcore band.
Just
Kind of
flirt
toes
with
that
those
line.
fringes.
Low, slow, chuggy stuff, but also kind of pulling more from Disso Death kind of stuff, like a lot of Portal, Alterage kind of influence. Make it very chaotic but still slow. And kind of just trying to write new things and seeing if they work, because just because I write something doesn't mean it ends up having to be released or committed to.
Right.
So the first single that we are going to put out is going to be definitely not only the most extreme and the fastest, but also I would say the most epic sounding as well because of how the song flows. And it is a longer song. It's not as long as Dracarys is, but it is a like over 6 minute long song.
Wow.
So, want to come out of the gate with a new song that is substantial. And then other songs are going to be shorter. Other songs can be multi-parters, things like that. And that's just what we're trying to write right now. And I kind of have explained this to other people at times. There's still backlog from the previous band. Like there are some finished, like the metal band is instrumentally written with like a couple synths programmed here and there. There's like fragments of songs, but also there's entire album concepts and stories that I've started writing and planning out and spitballing of like various different themes. Some of them are like various fantasy themes. Some of them are like, I guess you could I guess the easiest way to summarize the theme would be like cyberpunk.
Okay.
And the music would reflect those different things. So say if I'm doing something that's more, I don't know, like let's take the cyberpunk one. I'm gonna use less orchestra and probably more electronics and more synth sounds.
Yeah.
Something that's more, I don't know, if I'm going with something very more fantasy woodland realm kind of stuff, I'm going to
That's
be
when you
using
get the
more folk
symphonic.
instruments
Yeah.
and whatnot.
I like that.
I don't really,
realm.
I don't really think there needs to be a specific, like rigid boundary for the sound. As
So
far as like,
now, how does it go with lyric writing? Aisha? Are you a writer yourself, or you just wait for these guys to give you all the words and you just bark them out on a microphone?
I mean, I think Ivy would best answer that.
kind of whatever she wants to contribute or do. It's all like, I will say it is new territory. So, say for example, like Dracarys on the album was half written by myself lyrically and half written by Haley, because I had difficulty finishing the lyrics for that song. I knew kind of what I wanted to say and what the theme of the song and concept of the song was, but I needed actual help writing the words. So I had I gave her kind of my whole list of influences and all the things I was alluding to with like other stories, quotes, central themes, all of that. And she, wrote new sections, and they're great. And I would like to do more of that if it's necessary and needed, and what everybody wants to do. But pretty much like I am kind of the central creative in the band. So, for example, let's take like the cyberpunk theme. I've designated that, when I talk about that release, I have songs that are already put towards that. Some of them are finished, some of them are fragments. I have ideas for the story of the album. I have ideas for song names and topics and whatnot. I might have certain key phrases that I want to use in certain songs, but other than that, it's kind of like, if Aisha really resonates with a song and she decides that she wants to write lyrics for a song, and there's either a topic assigned or not a topic assigned, she has fair realm to go do that. But pretty much I kind of like outline a theme to go for a release, and then ideally everybody would kind of work towards that goal. But how that ends up in execution is yet to be seen, because we're just starting it off kind of slow with these singles. Like I'm writing 2 of these singles for sure entirely on my own. One of which is already pretty much wrapped. Like we've got a couple production elements left to record. We have Aisha's vocals left to record. My vocals left to record. And yeah, and then another song that is a very, very, very personal topic, one for me to write about. So I'm doing all of that myself as well.
Would you like to divulge what that topic is just yet, or you want to save it for the release?
For the first one,
no, you just said this one's a very personal topic.
Oh, that's a different song. That's not the one that's going to be coming out first.
Okay. Well, the one you just mentioned, that was the one that I was intrigued to ask. That was, what is the topic, if you want to give it to us?
It's what's kind of
you don't have to if you don't want to, dude. I'm just asking. You just said it was a personal topic. I'm the interviewer of the show. I just wanted, you gave me a in where I was like, I want to know what that topic is.
So again, I guess I'll preface it with like, again, some of the lyrics on the album are like death metal lyrics, and then some of them are more politically charged, socially charged, whatnot. So being a trans person and what's going on in the world right now, or in the US right now, with legislation at the state level,
Right.
and how that affects me directly as a performer, or how some of these states might limit my ability to perform.
Yeah.
Kind of in that vein. So
Totally.
yeah, it's kind of a little piece de resistance on that.
All right.
So
I back it, dude. Freedom of
So.
speech and artistic creativity is where I'm at, and you take it to the farthest you can take it, dude.
Yep.
Or it's just like am all about putting the most of yourself into your art. That's truly how I feel. I want the most of myself to be in the words that I write. And I have put very personal things into my writing, and that has been put on albums as well, and so I totally 100% I will always back somebody fully putting themselves into their art, no matter what it is. I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
100%, dude. And that is, I think that, like, taking that step is it's hard for a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? Like, really putting I think that people might be scared to actually inject themselves into something that they're creating. I think that a lot of people might leave a boundary. I don't know.
Yeah.
Now
I
I'm
mean,
just
I kind of went over that with Cheney from Entheos. Actually, she and I were kind of talking about it in the DMs a bit. Talking about how the new Entheos album is so personal to her, and her experience with her uh, moped or motorcycle accident that she
yeah, that
had.
was crazy shit,
And
dude.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Sure.
I kind of told her very pointedly, like, it's really great that we're in a time where people can write the personal things that they deal with in a death metal context and actually match up the visceralness of life
Right.
with the music, and actually have it be fully respected in this time. Because I feel like in the past, maybe that's not so. A lot of, from my experience growing up and looking at the death metal scene, there's been a lot of like, oh, that's a bunch of emo stuff. And it's like, well, it's also real life.
Right.
And life is brutal. It's absolutely brutal.
Mhm. Most definitely, dude. I'm
Like,
38
we
right
have,
now. I stopped writing like Cannibal Corpse at 18 or 19 years old. I felt like I was faking it to make it type feeling. There was no real personal connection to what I was writing, and I kind of felt empty in what I was writing. So I at very young age, I decided to, even through metaphor, just talk about like real shit. And even if it was tough stuff, I was still writing about it, and that is the only real reason why I write. Like, why write for somebody else? Like, anything that I write today, I have to have a personal connection to it,
right.
or I
And
don't write.
like for me personally as well, it's like I feel a freedom to be as on the nose as I want to be, or also like as fantastical as I want to be with it. Because like, again, our lyrics primarily historically have sat in like a dark fantasy sort of realm, but
Mhm.
I still feel like I have the freedom to be like, I can write a song like Zerstur, and it's just a very blatant anti-fascist statement.
Mhm.
And I can write a song. I can write the lyrics for Amnesia, which is a very like woes of capitalism and working class kind of song. Or I can write an entire epic about deforestation and put it in the realm of the Feywild and have Leshens and stuff attack skyscrapers or whatever. Like,
it's the possibilities are endless.
I really want to
Yeah.
use that idea. I love Leshens. I want Leshens in my lyrics.
Wait, like
for the listeners and what is a lesson?
It comes from Polish and Slavic mythology. It's like a guardian tree spirit, but they're most popularized in the Witcher's variant of Slavic mythology, which is, an elder forest god that is like an ent, but it has like a giant deer skull. They're very terrifying and powerful entities.
Sick.
Pretty much they show up when somebody's been fucking with the woods. So
it's
don't fuck with the woods. Leave the trees alone.
The Lorax, but way gnarlier.
Grimdark Lorax. Grimdark Lorax, for sure.
Hell yeah.
You guys know about the Hollowed Catharsis, right? I just feel like that band should be on your
radar.
Yes,
I love them. I love them.
We played with them in San Diego 2 months ago, and they were extremely sick. And then I saw they just played that. Was that Modified Ghost Fest up in Vancouver, their hometown?
Yeah,
it looked like they did sick there too. Just shout out. But yeah, I mean that's cool. Like what's going on legislatively in the world, and I shouldn't say the world, in the United States is scary. I want to play with you guys extra because of it. So for what that's worth, yeah,
most definitely.
And I feel that same way. Like I feel like as the things are becoming more and more like blatantly open to interpretation legally, to just discriminate against queer people, basically. Like I feel like it's more and more important, as much as it puts my own well-being at risk. I feel like it's way more important now to play in those areas and let people of my demographic know, like, we're here, we can't be silenced, we can't be erased. And, some of us make sick death metal. Yep. So have a good time. Life is brief and sometimes cruel. So here we are to bring you a good time.
Hell yeah.
Yes, dude. And I'm about the good time. I'm not about the brief and cruel. I want to extend this shit as long as I can while having a blast the whole time.
There you go.
Let's have a good time and a long time.
Exactly. And I'll be right there with you. That's what it's like. The headache, it's such a headache to me what we're talking about. Like there's too many details that are just so unnecessary about that, where I'm just like, I just like to connect with humans. I just like, and when I've talked about it so many times, and we talk about this death metal thing or this extreme metal thing, there's so many hoops that we jump through instantly, socially, just because of that. Like we're already homies right now over the fact that we all meet on this level of underground extreme metal, and we love it all. You're rocking a Stabbing shirt right now. I'm already like, if I saw you in public, we were instantly friends just by seeing our shirts, and that's what it's all about. It doesn't matter about anything else. It matters about creating and being a part of a movement that wants to progress forward, which obviously it's been doing that since the 80s. All we're doing is just passing the baton, really, or not even like passing it, just like hopefully getting a little touch of that baton as it goes past and just pushing it forward a little bit. And no matter what, this art form's gonna move on because it it doesn't matter about money. It doesn't matter about anything else. It just matters about love and passion about what we're doing, you know? And that's why we're doing the show. That's why you guys are an active band. That's why Joseph's in 14 fucking bands right now, who's on tour simultaneously. I don't know. He's taking private planes in between gigs to play with multiple bands. Like,
very little of that tracks reality.
Yeah.
No,
it's all
but for real.
bullshit. Joseph owns his own plane, of course.
Yeah, come on. I don't charter shit.
He's the professor, dude.
Yeah.
No, but that's not really what's going down. But I mean, I'm just saying, like, Joseph's super active in all the projects that it's just all the love for the game, guys. Game recognized game too, by the way.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's why there's going to be some sort of collab. I mean, Aaron and I talked about it at the end of the last tour we did, that, you know, we got to bring our own bands because we were both the fill-ins on that tour. We both got to get our own bands together to play some shows, whether we come to Texas or you come to California, or a whole run that combines the two places. But, you know, plenty of territory to conquer. So,
Most
Yeah,
definitely.
sure.
As long as those broken down vans will get you there.
Damn. We'll bring you along, dude, so you can fix our shit as it breaks. Yeah. But yeah, I hope to see Xebellian blow up and keep the momentum going. Hopefully the next record, it's been independent so far. Maybe you're looking for labels or something. Maybe you could just say a word about what your interest is on that side of things in case we have any interest from our listeners.
Sure.
Or
I
maybe
mean,
you want to stay independent. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. Yeah.
I mean, at this point, we've kind of just explored our options without really committing to one thing or another. I mean, we haven't necessarily fully reached out to a lot of labels, as well as I don't think we've had any labels really reach out to us. I will say we did finally we do have a booking agent now, which was, for me, it is big because I've been booking all the shows and I don't like booking really. It is just a big pain, and it's hard, and it's really nice just being able to hand off everything to somebody else who's much better at it than I am. And so I feel like that was just a major step in itself to just have someone, like, we're putting together a run for later this year right now, and you know, it's not huge, but it's at least the furthest we've done. I mean, we're doing 4 days in a week, and realistically, that's the biggest run we've ever done. We've done a lot of 2 to 3 day runs. 4 days will be our next biggest one, and then later this year, hopefully something bigger, and, you know, keep growing from there. Hopefully, 2024 holds a lot of new territory for us. But, you know, as far as the label thing goes, like I said, it would just have to be the right circumstance. I wouldn't say it's something we're actively searching for and something we're actively resisting. So it's just, you know, we're focused on getting the music out to people right now, and, you know, building a community, especially here in Texas. Like I said, there's really not much of a scene that we fit in here. So it's been a thing of trying to build that community here, you know, because, you know, when we first started, when we played local shows, you know, it was very hard for us to pull. But then, you know, a few weeks ago, or I guess a few months ago at this point, Hakeem, Ivy, and I were all at the Flesh God show, and we're like, all right, you know, look at all these people here. Like, there's people who are gonna like our style of music that are in Houston. How do we get to them? And I feel like we've definitely made a very good progress on that, especially this year, on reaching those people around here, around Austin, around Dallas, San Antonio, and you know, a lot of the tech death tours struggle in Texas a lot. So, you know, even though we're not really in the tech death realm, you know, we do fit in with those bands really well. We've hopped on so many of the shows, and I'd love for us to be able to, you know, build more of that community here in Texas, because like we talked about, brutal death and hardcore and stuff like that. And that's where the scenes are at. But there are the people that like the other stuff. It's just not at the smaller or local level, people show up to Flesh God shows. People show up to Septic Flesh shows around here. And it's just a matter of, finding those people and building that community. And, that's kind of been, at least on my end, as far as like booking and kind of managing the band, that's been my priority as we've, released the album and then continue to play shows, is to find the people here and then begin to branch out. And, we're kind of on the cusp of that right now, I feel like.
Labels can be a pain in the ass. So yeah, I mean, enjoy the independence while however long it lasts, because you're gonna then be dealing with a bunch of bullshit. So
side question, Aaron, real quick. I want to know about that skull art behind you.
Behind me?
Yeah.
Oh, this isn't even my house. This is my aunt and uncle's house.
No
There's
shit,
actually
dude. Pulling
a lot
back
of skulls.
up full screen again.
There's a lot of skulls over there.
Really?
Skull, yeah, brother.
Can we get a quick skull?
Rock and skull.
Yeah, dude.
Skull tour.
Scoliosis.
Yeah, so who do you think out of your aunt and uncle, who's the skull person?
Let's see. I believe this is my aunt's office. So
is she like a doctor of some sort, or
she's not?
Down?
She is a private detective.
Ooh.
And has done plenty of autopsies and
shit
things. I'm sure she's seen many real skulls. So
it's so funny. Your aunt has experienced way more real shit than fucking any Cannibal Corpse listener, dude.
Yeah.
that skull's sick as shit. That skull is sick as fuck, though. That's been over your shoulder this whole time. I've been wanting to ask you about it since the beginning of this episode. And I've been waiting.
Yeah, like I said, I'm in San Antonio right now, so I was at my cousin's graduation. So I got to the house 4 minutes before we were supposed to start.
What if you talked to your aunt and she was just like, "Oh yeah, dude, Flesh God, I missed them. I was gonna go, but no." All right, but I love that. I really do love that your aunt's all about that. There's another person who's a Facebook friend of mine. I'm not going to call her out, but she just got a job as like an autopsy.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
So you know who I'm talking about. And I was just like, holy shit, that's a fucking real job, dude. I just fucking make cars go straight. Like I don't have to cut open dead humans, dude.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, no, shout out Caitlin, right?
Yeah. We'll just shout out Caitlin from fucking
Tele Orchestra.
No, Coma Cluster Void, right?
Different. No, it's not her.
Oh shit, I'm mixing them up. Sorry, she's from fucking Tim's band.
Yeah, High Castle Tele Orchestra.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm tired and stoned, guys.
Different Caitlin vocalist, but yeah, same.
See, that's why I didn't. I was just. All right, whatever. I'm not even gonna.
But yeah, Autopsy Tech. Congrats, thank you. I'm glad you get to open up bodies for your job, Caitlin.
Yeah,
good job.
That's fucking crazy.
Do me next. But,
that shit trips me out like a motherfucker. Dude.
Yeah. All right. Well, should we start to wrap things up, everybody?
We should, guys.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm tired and I'm fucking high as shit. It's 10:15 my time. All right, let's do the plugs. I mean, I had a really good time with you guys, and actually juggling all four of you guys was not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I feel like I got training wheels with multiple humans. Like that single human interview has been so easy for so long, and now I'm like, I got to put the training wheels back on for multiple people. But I had a great time tonight, for sure. And meeting you guys are all rad. And we never ever plug it, dude, until the end when probably nobody's listening. But we do this live on Twitch, twitch.tv/Cali Death Podcast. You can get in here and hang out with us and chat with us during the show. Maybe even get a question in there. Buy a shirt from CaliDeathPodcast.BigCartel.com. Buy your coffee from BattleForgeCoffee.com. and get some merch from the Xebellian Triangle at where's that link tree?
Yeah, we have a link tree, or you can check us out on Bandcamp. We have CDs back in stock for our album. We've been out of stock for a few months now, and we have some fresh CDs now. So if you're wanting a physical of the album, we have it available. Some t-shirt designs, some shorts, some koozies, stickers.
Looks like the professor's having a
I-
physics.
Can you hear me? Does this work?
Yeah, it does.
All right. Yeah, I broke my mic stand real fast. So
It's real
Just trying
fast.
to-
And I'll add on the CDs. They're technically a special edition. They have 6 symphonic only versions that are only available on the CD version.
Oh,
So if you buy the
shit.
CD, you get bonus tracks.
Oh,
You get
so like
6 bonus tracks.
6 symphonic versions of songs that are on the album.
Yes, you get Spawn, Dracarys, Confirmed, Bloodwatcher, Autopsy, and Fellow.
Sick, dude.
Yep.
That is
Yeah.
actually super cool because 6 bonus tracks is like the real deal. Like when I buy a DVD and it only has a couple of bonus material, whatever bullshit, and you're just like, whatever. But the whole like 3 hours of bonus material, that's what's up, dude. And same thing with like album on the album scale, having 6 different new tracks or revamps of tracks. That I'm into that for sure.
Yeah,
And
'cause
I'm a
it's-
physical I'm a physical copy person too, so that totally tingles my it tickles my fancy. That's what it is.
Hell yeah. Yeah, it's like the orchestral printouts from the songs, but it's also got like a couple extra layers of like a lot of mostly percussion that just doesn't make it into the final mix just because there's already an entire drummer doing stuff.
Mhm.
So, and then like some additional layers are like alternate layers that like
I love how you said it,
Um,
an entire drummer. Like some people work with partial drummers, like just the left arm and the right leg of Aaron.
still it'd be a lot. Yeah.
yeah, Aaron is actually Exodia.
I got the entire
forbidden
Aaron, the complete Aaron.
Yeah.
In every single CD, there's a random Aaron card. You have to get 5 pieces of the forbidden one and put them together.
And then I'll play for your band.
Yeah. That's how you hire the man.
That's great, dude.
Well,
I'm totally thinking like Power Ranger, like you need the multiple pieces to work up to Aaron, you know. What are those called? What is the end
Like the
result of
Megazords or like
yeah,
the
the
Voltron.
Megazord. Yeah, dude. Rock
All
on.
right.
All right.
You ready
Well,
to launch
this is
this
a-
ending?
yeah, I don't even know if we're rating anybody. That's all Joel.
We don't-
I know if
yeah,
we know how to do
we
that.
don't
But
fuck with
I'm
that
sorry
shit.
for all y'all that are twitching right now that we could be raid, but we don't know how to do it. We need our Jolie bear. All right. But rock on to all of you. Have a great 3-day weekend, and we will see you next week. Rock on.
Thank you so